as DJ.
Well, Roger, is our second day as Penn State Nittany Lions. We've been invited to watch a practice, getting ready to play a playoff game. Roger. Yes, they're practicing hard, getting ready for their showdown with Notre Dame, a team that Georgia could not overcome. Notre Dame was favored to be an early exit. However, that will be delayed by 1 week because Penn State will have to do what Georgia couldn't and put the Irish back in their place, which is anywhere but the playoffs. Ha! They don't have enough history to say they belong. As a matter of fact, I won an internet comment 2 weeks ago. They never won a playoff game until this century. So they never won a playoff game this century. But they won one last time they played against the Georgia Bulldogs, who gave it all they had and used their physicality. But Notre Dame used its physicality to achieve 23 points. Yeah, if you wanted to have a good drinking game, you could talk with Kirby Smart or Mike Bobo, and every time either one of them say physicality, take a shot. Believe me, it'll rot your brain. They say it all the time. I don't know really what that's code for, but it sounds like it's code for we're not going to think. We're not going to have a creative offense. We're just going to do basic stuff. Try to pound people and be physical. Ryan Day football. See, that's the problem. Ohio State lost to Georgia and tried to become what they were. And Georgia beat Ohio State, this was 2 years ago, and they tried to be what they were, which was a physical team. Fascination with being physical. They don't want to be finesse teams. But if you can be both, you can be a superstar. It's called being a balanced offense. Balanced attacks will always win. And if one team can't pass or can't run, they're not going to be able to win against a team that can do both, and especially if your shortcoming is in passing. A team that can pass better is going to beat the team that can only run. How come Georgia lost to Notre Dame? That theory doesn't seem to hold water. None of this stuff makes any sense. Georgia losing to Notre Dame violates all manners of physics. That shouldn't have happened, but it did. And that's all we're going to say about it, because it did. Losses don't seem to matter down there in Georgia. They don't mind. They've gotten used to it. Go look at the chart. 22 didn't lose any games. 23 lost 1. No titles. This year they lost 3. And no titles and no playoff victories. Because they're physical. They didn't lose any physicality. They just couldn't get more than 10 points against a good team. But this Penn State team is going to go against that Notre Dame team. We believe, Roger, they're going to handle themselves well. They're going to represent Nittany Lion pride very, very effectively. I think Notre Dame's going to run into a brick wall. Go look at the Boise State game. Pretty much got the Notre Dame game. Change a few points, maybe a field goal off. It'll be something like that. Penn State's going to roll over Notre Dame. They're going to probably run 38 minutes of clock or more, and they're going to win. Well, Roger, I can't really argue with any of those points. Did you have any idea, since we're doing a short update, we're trying to update our Georgia fans as well as our Penn State fans, since we're both now, we've had to take on the responsibility of tending to Penn State in addition to the SEC and Georgia, but we are refusing to cover any Georgia games. As long as Mike Bobo is employed, we feel like he's an inadequate coordinator and that our team is not relevant as long as he's the coordinator. So why waste energy discussing them? And they conveniently fell out of the market anyway, and so there's no more games to cover with Georgia, but Penn State is still alive. We entered the content creators transfer portal. Kind of a joke, but we're taking it seriously. Why wouldn't we enter the portal? Our team isn't responding to our message. So let's go talk to people that want to win. Georgia doesn't. And if your team doesn't want to win, I don't know. I mean, how many fans could say our team doesn't want to win? Sometimes it's true. Most of the time, it's true. Georgia doesn't want to win at the big level. They're good enough and happy to win enough to win 10 games. They like to be talked about, but they just can't be bothered with this perfection thing, this super team, this invincible team. It was just too much for the brains to comprehend. They had to go back to struggling. They hired Mike Bobo to make sure they could do that, because otherwise they wouldn't have struggled. But they want to. We don't like unnecessary struggle. Roger and Roger, we're about winning. At least trying. But when your team isn't trying to win and it's obvious, I don't know what to say. So we made a statement. We're boycotting Georgia until they get rid of Mike Bobo, because as long as he's there, it's going to be something like what you saw this year, but maybe not even that good. But again, we're Penn State now. They don't want to hear about that. Georgia's out. We can't talk about them no more. There's no more games to cover with Georgia. We would like to talk about the developments of what's going on with their off season. And we're really sorry about what happened to Kirby Smart's dad. That's really sad. His dad passed away. And we're sad about that. So we're going to back off on Georgia. We're not going to talk about them. Let them get their act together, and I'm sure at some point they'll reorganize that offense. And if they don't, then they got problems. But we're talking about teams right now that are still in the playoffs. We have some fans that want to keep up with the playoffs. Servicing our market, SEC, Georgia, and now Penn State as well.
Sorry ass DJ.
It's fun doing Penn State. I like them because I think Penn State, Roger, is a legitimate contender to win this title, and it's because of what we talked about. They have the good balance. They can run, they can throw, they do like to run, eat clock, and that's fine as long as you're scoring. Penn State is not flashy, and they'll have to have a lot of breaks to beat an Ohio State. You asked about Ohio State and Texas. I don't know what to do about that game. We've seen them play 100 games. Ryan Day, the way he's playing now, will beat Texas. Do you need any more discussion? The only question is, will Ryan Day become stupid again? I don't know. I know Georgia became stupid. It's possible. But if Ryan Day and Ohio State do what they've done since the Michigan game, there's nobody going to beat them, because they're just like that 22 Georgia team. They got about the same roster they had. They don't have maybe as many NFL guys that stayed for that third year. Ooh, you'll never see that again. So Ohio State is that 22 Georgia team, the nearest thing to it. Georgia decided it was too much trouble to be that team. Well, Roger, there you have it. We are comfortable in Happy Valley, getting adjusted to Penn State playoff football. We invite all the Georgia fans to check out Penn State. Hey, it's the best thing compared to what's left out there. Penn State's a good program. They're like the Dogs. They're hungry, they're aggressive, and they're an exciting football team. James Franklin. Well, James Franklin needs to win a big one. I think this might be his year. So, we won't address the Mike Bobo issue. We're going to let that pause and take care of itself. And Georgia will have a few months to organize their offense, but they really need to understand that this year, was quite dismal. And I don't think anyone wants to see any more of that. And hopefully next time, Roger and Roger will be celebrating the Georgia playoff victories that we thought we were going to get this year. But it doesn't always go like we thought. Roger, until we meet again. And all of you from Happy Valley to Tifton to Rome to Athens and Vidalia and Isla and all those wonderful places. Till we meet again, ta-ta.